We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this Rebel Outpost. If you want to support the home for the true college football sickos, to help us keep the lights on with a donation, hit that dollar sign where you make a comment, and I'll get to super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome on everybody. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Ricky Tungate, Mr. Hoosier. I am going to be talking about the Indiana Hoosiers today. Greg, I'm at work. Watch the show later. Thank you, Ricky, for the super chat. Thank you for your generosity. Once again, thank you for starting us off here at Peek Around the Corner. I am going to talk about Indiana. That is going to be the main part of our monologue. Karan Shakar. LOL, Greg already spinning Indiana's schedule decision. There's absolutely nothing to spin. It is 100% logical. It's going to be happening throughout the country. I don't know why anyone is surprised. This is what the vast majority of you wanted, right? This is what I warned about, right? This is going to be happening now because you cannot wait for the last moment. These schools, these football programs, these general managers, these athletic directors, they are planning now. They are planning for the worst case scenario. It doesn't make, look, there are people in the chat room constantly saying now the Big Ten should go to 8 conference games, just like everybody else. Oh, what are you talking about? This is the, you all want to dumb it down until somebody dumbs it down, and then you say, oh, you've got these large conferences. And by the way, they're only going to get larger. They're only going to get larger. They have an unbalanced schedules in the Big Ten, in the SEC, in the Big 12. Not so much the Big 12 because you play 9 conference games and it's a 16-team conference lineup. But you're going to have unbalanced schedules. Even in the Big 12 you do. So then Indiana has an unbalanced schedule because Washington, thank you, Expansion Crush. I'm going to get to your incredible generosity. I will get to it. Thank you, Mr. Hoosier. Thank you so much, my friend. I will get to it in a second. You have these unbalanced schedules. And one of the cures for the unbalanced schedule is a play-in game. But you don't want that either. Nobody wants that. The SEC coaches don't want that. Well, the Big Ten does. So why in the hell wouldn't Indiana Hoosiers look at the math and do what a lot of other teams are going to be doing? Why would USC continue to play Notre Dame? With the 5+11, you're giving nobody 2 bites at the apple. Instead of giving everybody 2 bites at the apple, you're giving nobody 2 bites at the apple. Why risk? Avoid the losses. Avoid the losses. Avoid the losses. Ole Miss went 5-3 last year. 5-3 against teams that had anything to do with the pulse. And they almost made the playoffs. Lane Kiffin bitched that they did not get to the playoffs. It's almost like, hello. I want to shake the Einsteins in the chat room. I want to shake you all up and say, look, you're giving the Southeastern Conference everything they desire. They're going to have the strength of schedule. Now they're going to have the strength of record. You're going to give them everything on a silver bleeping platter. They've already got everything, and you're giving them even more. This was explained to everybody. This is what's going to happen to college football on a 5+11. The Southeastern Conference is going to have the old strength of schedule, the old strength of record. They're going to have that marker. They're going to have that market cornered. Don't you understand? You're going to have to finish a game or 2 games better than them to get to the playoffs. As a non-conference champion, as an at-large bid. Everybody is going to zag. Everybody is going to go in that direction. This has been talked about. This is the first salvo. I don't even understand what people, and this whole idea. Nine games was not a mistake. Thank you for coming on in, Talking Comics. No. You know what 9 games is? Playing 75% of your games against your conference mates because you are in a conference. Everybody wants to play each other less. No, you play each other more in your conference. I think everybody has lost their bloody minds. And this whole idea, I get it. Look, yesterday I tried to be nice. Saturday, I think half the show I tried to be nice. I got everybody mad at me last week. Well, we're going to go back to that because I don't know what the hell's going on. People are saying, well, great. Just so everybody's playing the same number of P4 opponents, everything should be. No! That is such, that logic, it's not logic. Conference games are automatic losses. You're automatically going more games into the season, more games on your record inside your conference with more losses. It's not the same thing. This is bearable in a 5+11. Not ideal, not kosher, but we get through it. A 5+11, this is undoable. Why in the, I don't quite understand it. Why the math? We're going to go through Kirby Smart. We're not going to go everything what Kirby Smart said, but if you listen to these SEC coaches, they're telling you they do not want to step on their own advantage. Good for them. If that's what they want to do, 8 conference games, be my guest. But we're not going to expand the playoffs so more of them get in while the Big 12 and the ACC have their hands up in the air going, geez, I didn't know this was going to happen. The Big 10, their schools are going to act in their own interest. If this is the route we're going, and I got a little information, just a tiny bit of information to share on all that, but we'll get to that later. Do you think Indiana's going to be the only school that does this? Are you out of your mind? What good does it do the Hoosiers to risk a loss in non-conference play, to put a higher risk when they're not going to get the higher benefit? They're not going to have you are going to cut in front of Alabama and a South Carolina. You're not. Indiana, everybody's gaming this out. And the game is to dumb all of this down, which is horrific. Absolutely horrific. I got it. Look, Notre Dame fans, the Fighting Irish fans that talk to me on X and DM me, God bless you all. God bless the Fighting Irish. God bless you. Had a hell of a football team last year. You're going to have a hell of a football team this year. CJ Carr, but God almighty, don't be ripping on Indiana's football schedule. Holy smokes. You've got the ability to schedule 7 games outside of your crossover with the ACC. Look, the game is afoot. You can schedule anybody you damn well want in those 3 out-of-conference games. Competition be damned. At this point, what a joke. You've got a plan out there. Not a perfect plan, but you've got a plan out there where we would have better non-conference games than we've ever had before. We'd all be looking at the conference races. They would be the least amount of propaganda in the history of college football. We would have that, but no. No, we can't have that, can we? We got to have a 5+11, and we cannot have the SEC go to 9 conference games. That would be too much. I mean, look at the schedule. Oh my God. So when somebody finally acts, and more are coming, on the reality on the floor, boots on the ground reality. Everybody, and I mean everybody, SEC fans, ACC fans, Notre Dame, Big 12, all of you fell in line once again. Look at Indiana. Look what they're doing. Look at the Hoosiers. What do you expect? Honest to God, what do you expect? We've got unbalanced schedules. And again, Indiana last year, who would have known that Michigan and Washington were going to have down years? The year previous, they were in the national championship game. Indiana went on to beat Michigan and Washington. Oh, by the way, Michigan beat South Carolina, Alabama, Illinois beat South Carolina. There's so many examples. The Big Ten schedule is a good schedule. But if you want to complain about the schedule, well, guess what? Indiana would have had to get into the playoffs last year to win a play-in game. That's what the Big Ten wants in the future. But we can't have that either. We got to go the way the Southeastern Conference wants us to go. Dumb everything down. So that's what's going to happen. And we are seeing the start of it, and people are pissed off at Indiana. What? Expansion Crush, thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it so very much. Unbelievable generosity. Even a bigger, unbelievable friendship. I am not. If it would have been Iowa, I would have said the same thing. My beloved Gophers, I would have said the same thing. It just happened to be Indiana. I would have even defended it. You think Wisconsin is going to... Do you see Wisconsin's schedule this year? Do you think they're going to have that same... You think they're going to go along with that schedule 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4... Why? Why would Wisconsin... It's a great schedule for us fans to watch. But it ain't a great schedule for the interest of Wisconsin. Instead of having better games, we want worse games. The SEC does. Everybody's falling in line. Brett Yormark. We want worse games, right? For everybody. We want easy game, except for the Big Ten. That's not how it's going to work, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is going to scale down their schedule. Why? Because they're going to try to game out the best way to get to the college football playoffs. Just like the Southeastern Conference is doing. They know the data. They know the math. They are this close away from drinking a whole lot of people's milkshake. Maybe not the top half of the Big Ten, but they are so close to drinking the Big 12, the ACC, and a half of the Big Ten, the lower brand Big Ten schools. They are so close to drinking up everybody's milkshake because they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're going to get the benefit over. Look at what happened last year. If it was a 16-team playoffs, South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss, they've all would have been in the playoffs. BYU would not have gone to the playoffs. Iowa State would not have gone to the playoffs. And it was a down year for the SEC. And they want to tweak the metrics even more in their favor. What exactly are we not getting here? Of course, Indiana's going to dumb their schedule down. More will follow. Because they got to game it out. I suspect the Big 12 is going to do the same thing. If you're playing 9 conference games, boy, you are gonna start dumbing down your out of conference games. This is the world that everybody wanted. This is the world that Brett Yormark is supporting the SEC on. So Indiana, the title of the show is Indiana can do whatever they want. So can Mississippi State. By the way, Mississippi State is our today's spotlight team, PAT Spotlight. The Bulldogs are going under the spotlight of PATC. We're going to find out. We're going to try to figure out if Mississippi State can get above 15th place. Can they make it to 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th place in the SEC? Can they win a couple of SEC games? They might finish ahead of Kentucky, but who else can they finish ahead of? I like their quarterback, but their quarterback is not able to stay healthy. But if he can stay healthy, what type of weapons does he have? Well, Davon Booth, I believe he started his career at Utah State, transferred to Mississippi State. He's a pretty good player. What else do the Mississippi State Bulldogs have? We are going to put the spotlight on them. Kirby Smart, we're going to talk everything in college football. We are going to do a roll call. Thank you all for joining us here at Peek Around the Corner, July 15th. We are getting closer and closer and closer to the college football season. Thank you, Expansion Crush. We are going to take it up at the back end of the monologue. We are going to take it up at the back end of the monologue. I got more to say about it. Am I coming out firing? Of course I am. Because this was only talked about like every single day for the last 2 months. This is what was going to happen. I'm shocked that people are shocked. Well, not really. Not really. Ryan Willie, sorry Expansion Crush, but Indiana will come back to reality this year. Wisconsin will spoil your playoff dreams. Ryan Willie, optimistic once again. He goes back and forth, up and down. The Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, thank you for your support. Thank you so very much. Rock and Rat, I'm sorry, but this is a terrible take. Yes, they should get the playoff stuff fixed, but this is such a chicken move from Indiana, weak as hell. Thank you for being a member for 18 months, Rock and Rat. 18 months. You are hereby knighted, cloak, and dagger. I don't think this happens to be a terrible take. I would call this the only take you can have. Why would Indiana do anything different than anybody else is doing out there? Why? 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 And Indiana's not going to be the only team that does this. So the proof is going to be in the pudding. And the pudding is going to fill up the fat guy from Minnesota's bowl that he eats in his bedroom watching TV late night with the little general. His pudding bowl is going to be overflowing with proof. It ain't going to be just Indiana. It ain't going to be just Indiana. Okay. Indiana's got more heat today than all the Southeastern Conference has in the last 12 months in my chat room or with my phone calls. It tells me something. It tells me something. Holy smokes. We are going to do a roll call. Expansion Crush is in the house. AMAC is here. Don Scruggs. Kirby Smart had a very good media day today. We're going to talk. We're going to bring up a few. We're not going to bring up all the comments of Kirby Smart, but we're going to bring up a few of them. D5 Terps is in the house. Cranky Tiger. Big Gun Shop. Morris Simmons is here. Kalani L is in the house. Nerf is here. AMAC. MBM. I'm ripping on Indiana's schedule. No different than the SEC playing cupcakes late in the season. Good. Rip on the SEC. Rip on them. I don't see it in the chat. It completely disappears. Only when the Big Ten does something like this. The Southeastern Conference have gotten off scot-free in the PATC's chat room. Almighty Finn is in the house. Had one good season over 40 years. Okay, all right. What does that have to do with the T in China? They're looking to have another good year, if possible. And another good one, and another good one. Why would they schedule a big-time opponent out of conference game? Why? Under the world that they're going to have to proactively plan for, there's no good reason why to risk an out-of-conference loss. Rod Nix is in the house. Jimmy is here. I like the 5+7. Let's stay at the 5+7. I agree with Jimmy. Let's stay at the 5+7. AMAC is here. Stephen Vitt is in the house. Expedition Greg. Chris Kenny. Florida Man. JC. Big Ten schedule's not that hard. Relative to what? Relative to who? I keep hearing this, and that's why the PATC chat room is filled with this. Why isn't the Big Ten schedule hard? What makes it so easy? I'm asking you. There's only like 10 different examples of last year where the middle of the Big Ten Conference was every bit as good as the SEC. What makes the Big Ten schedule not hard? Look, guys, I don't know what it is. It's something in the water out there. Something in the water. But everybody's complaints are towards the Big Ten. About 2% of it is towards the SEC. The Big Ten is going to act in accordance. I don't know, guys. We've only got a whole bunch of examples last year of the Big Ten schedule being very difficult. My Gophers defeated USC. USC defeated LSU. We can go on. We can go around the block on this many times over. So the Big Ten playing 9 conference. See, this is where you all are looking at the Big Ten Conference playing 9 games and saying, that's nothing. We'll stick with 8, but the Big Ten 9 is easy. Why would the Big Ten play along with any of this at this point? Big Ten is going to look out for themselves just like the SEC is doing. And they've got a lot of people bamboozled out there. D5 Terps is in the house. Bama wasn't very good last year, but they were the next team to go to the playoffs. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Nebraska ran from Tennessee. Why would they play Tennessee? Why would Nebraska play Tennessee? Why would they? Cranky Tiger, who else is here? Who else is here? A lot of elbows being thrown. Daniel Gorby is in the house. Robert Trunnell is here. Mr. SEC is in the house. The Big Lubbock. If they want to start upgrading their schedules, they need to start playing Big 12 schools. God. The Walking Geek is in the house. Lee, go Gators. Look, the Big Ten is going to have unbalanced schedules. That is unavoidable. The SEC is going to have unbalanced schedules. The Big 12 less so, but they're still going to have unbalanced schedules. And you cannot schedule around that. One of the things that would solve the unbalanced schedule is the play-in games. But that's just too much competition. That's too much worry for the coaches. We don't want that. We just want to cram as many SEC teams in the playoffs. Oh, congratulations, SEC. You're so smart for doing that. Bill Conley's data, Bill Conley's brilliant SEC, brilliant. And then Indiana games it out the same way, and it's like, oh, Indiana, you're horrible. You're despicable. Yikes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't care how, look, again, how many P4 teams you play does not equate to how many conference games you play. Overall, statistically. And if you want to go ahead and read Bill Conley's article. You look at how many P4 opponents the Big Ten are playing this year versus the SEC. Go take a look at it. It blows the SEC out of the water. Go take a look at it. But does anybody complain about that? Does any one of you complain about that? Look at the numbers. If the P4 is so important, how many P4s you play? Look at the difference between the Big Ten and the SEC this year. But guess what? It ain't going to fit. But when the metrics come out and the strength of schedule and the strength of record come out, it's all going to favor the Southeastern Conference. It has become so apparent to me that the SEC conference is getting by almost completely scot-free from ACC and Big 12 fans. And they're only looking at the Big Ten. The Big Ten has got to act in their own interest. For whatever reason, for however it shook out, if you want to take the P4 argument, the Big Ten blows the SEC out of the water. But again, who cares, right? Because it's the SEC. The Southeastern Conference is protected from by so many different angles on this. Except for one, the fat guy from Minnesota. Okay, we'll get to it. Thank you all for joining us. The Walking Geek, Daniel Gygax. I remember the guy for the Big 12 for OCC was 1 P4, 1 G5, 1 FCS. But of course, the SEC is hiding from playing 9 conference games. The Big Ten made a ruling like 3 or 4 years ago not to have any FCS teams. But then they saw what the SEC was doing and they brought it back. But again, no one's going to complain about the Southeastern Conference. Except for Daniel Gygax. Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Mountaineer. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Daniel Montcastle, Ryan Willie. Okay, we're going to get into the program here. Rock and Rant, thank you for the membership. Ricky Tungate, Mr. Hoosier, thank you so very much. So very much. We're going to go to the Mississippi Spotlight. Mississippi State onto the Spotlight. And then we're going to talk about Kirby Smart and the comments he made. And then we're going to get back into Indiana Hoosiers. In my opinion, strongly held opinion, because of what is going on in the college football landscape, the Indiana Hoosiers can do whatever they want to do. You're not going to get any complaints from me. Everybody is avoiding losses. The Southeastern Conference is avoiding losses. Indiana should do the same. Indiana has every right to do the same. They're going to play 9 conference games, then avoid the losses. That's what the Southeastern Conference wants to do. And they're going to have all the benefits of the strength of schedule, strength of record, because they play each other and they're so glorified that it ain't going to matter if Indiana played a Power 4 school and they're out of conference. It would matter. All of it would matter in the AQ model. But hardly any of you want it. So we're going to dumb everything down. We are going to dumb everything down. I can't wait for the next 5 years of college football. Blake Shapen. Now, I put career numbers here. You know, he was at Baylor, had a great career at Baylor, but he got injured a lot. Last year, he played a little bit, but got injured. Mississippi State Bulldogs, career passing, over 6,500 yards passing. 44 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Now, that is a very, 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 very good ratio. Excellent ratio. 64.3% completion percentage. 141.9 quarterback rating. These are really good career numbers. Blake Shapen has been a successful college quarterback when he is not injured. This is going to be his last year in college. I'm hoping, I'm praying the young man can stay healthy. Mississippi State is praying that he stays healthy. Devon Booth is their offense. Besides the hope and the potential of a healthy Shapen, Devon Booth is the Mississippi State offense. I believe he transferred from Utah State. Last year he played at Mississippi State, 759 yards rushing, 5 rushing average, 5 rushing touchdowns, 13 receptions. They are expecting big things from Booth. They need big things from Booth, because if you're going to see here in a little bit, the wide receiver room is very, it's on a wing and a prayer. Jordan Mosley, 23 receptions last year, 405 yards receiving, 17.6 average per catch, 3 receiving touchdowns. Jordan Mosley stretches the field for Mississippi State. A fully healthy Blake Shapen that plays 12 games should help Jordan Mosley out. Aiden Williams. Now, I know. Aiden Williams, highly rated wide receiver coming out of high school. He went to Ole Miss. 2 years he barely saw the field, and he transfers. He transfers to Mississippi State. And Ole Miss transferring to Mississippi State. Aiden Williams, they expect him to be a starting receiver at Mississippi State in Starkville. So the wide receiver room is very thin. Hunter Washington, safety, the leader of the defense, 26 solo tackles, 55 combination tackles, 1 interceptions, 2 tackle for losses, 2 pass defenses. Hunter Washington, the leader, the senior in the secondary. They've got Isaac Smith, another good safety for Mississippi State. They got a pretty good pair of safeties. That is the strength of their defense. However, the overall Mississippi State defense last year ranked dead last in the Southeastern Conference in 125th in all of FBS. They got to get better. They got to get better on the defensive side. The Mississippi State Bulldogs schedule. Arizona State. We are going to learn a lot about Mississippi State. They got a home game against the Sun Devils, September 6th. Northern Illinois, Alcorn, Southern Mississippi. They play Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Georgia, Mizzou, and Ole Miss. Of course, Ole Miss, the rivalry. That is the Mississippi State schedule. Unfortunately, even though I haven't made my official predictions yet, that will be coming early August. I'm not going to have the Mississippi State Bulldogs any better than 15th. Kentucky and Mississippi State are going to be battling for 15-16. They do not play each other, unfortunately. I don't think Mississippi State has a good shot at being a bowl team. But what I do like about Mississippi State is the quarterback. Keep him healthy, and he might be able to pull you out an upset win in the Southeastern Conference. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's been a pretty good quarterback in his college career. He just has not been able to stay on the field. Blake Shapen, Mississippi State, Jeff Lebby, the head coach, 2-10 last year. He's a guy who could be on the hot seat by the end of the season if the bottom drops out at Mississippi State once again. And I think there's a very good chance it will. So that is your spotlight. Let me know how wrong I got it once again here at Peek Around the Corner. Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart said he likes the 5+11 playoff and 9 SEC games, but is concerned about how losses are viewed. Well, yeah. Two conferences are stronger than others. If you don't agree with that, then you probably just don't know college football. So Kirby Smart is taking a shot at the Big 12 and the ACC. Is he going to get any heat? Is he going to get any heat from the Big 12 fans in the chat room? Probably not. For whatever reason, probably not. Kirby Smart said he likes the 5+11. He likes the 9 Southeastern Conference games, but is concerned about how losses are viewed. Well, so are other teams. So are other programs. Kirby on why so many big programs are going with in-house quarterbacks. Very interesting comment by Coach Kirby Smart. There was not the same influx into the portal. Not the sweepstakes for a guy. They believe in the guy they got, or there was not the supply and demand. There's a couple of guys, but the amount of money every school has made it harder for. Call it the Cam Ward effect. There's more people competing for those guys. If a kid's seeking money, he won't be just looking at the top 4 or 5 programs. He'll be looking at every program. In other words, everybody is spending money on players. So the talent is being spread out. If you are a top football program, you might not get the best quarterback out of the portal because somebody might be able to offer you a better rev share for that player if they can keep competitively with the NIL money. So a lot of teams went with their own quarterbacks. Not many went into the portal because a lot of football programs with decent quarterbacks, with good quarterbacks, had the money to retain their quarterback. The quarterbacks last year decided to stay where they were and get the money that was being offered to them where they just played instead of going in the portal. Kirby Smart on why there's debate over AQs versus 5+11 playoff. there's been a major strain put on the colleges that are borderline bubble. These coaches just want an opportunity to get in that because the bigger the playoffs have gotten, it's minimized the bowls. If you are a mid-tier SEC program, you need to have a reason for your fan base to be excited, an opportunity for your fan base to think they got a chance, and that's hard in some of the models. It's why they want the 5+11, because in the 5+11 model, the SEC programs are going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're not going to have to battle for an AQ. They're not going to have to win a play-in game. They don't need the second bite of the apple when it comes to a large bid. They're just going to wear you out on propaganda. They're going to have the metrics favor them. Buckle up. Buckle up for a lot of 9-3 versus 9-3 Big Ten. 9-3 SEC schools versus a 10-2 ACC school that's not a big brand ACC school. Welcome the battle if you want between a 9-3 SEC program versus a 10-2 Big 12 school. Good luck. Because the SEC is going to argue. They're going to argue they're going to be all over ESPN. They're going to argue, look at the strength of schedule, look at the strength of record, blah, 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 and look, in the Big 12 is going to get screwed. That is Kirby Smart. That is Kirby Smart. Let me get back to very interesting comments by Kirby Smart. Thank you, Mick Stevens, for coming on in. Thank you. Appreciate it. Stephen Vitt, arrogant much, Kirby. Greg is trying to gaslight the Big 12 fans on behalf of Kirby Smart. I don't even know what that means. When Kirby Smart said that there's two conferences, that's Kirby Smart said it. I didn't say it. Kirby Smart said it. Give me a break, Kirby. SEC can be a little unmanageable. Stormy Cyclone, isn't this SEC week? It sounds like Big Ten propaganda for AQs. I did a Mississippi State spotlight. I'm giving everybody an opportunity to put down their comments. I'm covering it. I'm going over all the super chats. If you want to disagree, disagree. The phone lines are going to be open. Stormy Cyclone, you can call. But once again, I love you, Stormy. But once again, a Big 12 fan will take the side of the SEC. Morris Simmons, SEC will be a juggernaut. Don Scruggs, Georgia has 3 5-star quarterbacks lined up. By the way, my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers play Mississippi State next year at Huntington Bank Stadium. Gophers versus the Bulldogs. I'm fine with 8 conference games when you play 2 Power 4 schools out of conference. Much better than 9 in a weak-ass outside conference schedule. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Now, again, Big Ten is playing more Power 4 conference teams in 2025 than the SEC. But that doesn't matter. It only matters if it's the other way around. Um, oh yeah. Buckle in, guys. Buckle in, buckle up. It will get to the point where an 8-4 or worse SEC team will be argued on base of SOS and whatever the ESPN says. It's going to be all propaganda. All of it. Instead of earning it on the field. If you are a 10-2 team, out of the weak Big Ten, out of the very weak Big Ten, according to the PATC family, don't you want that 10-2 Big Ten team to have to win a playing game against another Big Ten team? No? Movie Time Blues. Yes, you did. No, the Big Ten would do this, Stormy Cyclone. The Big Ten would do this. They stay at 9 conference games. And the SEC goes to 9 conference games. And we do a crossover. How about that? The Big Ten is willing to do it today. Both their 9 conference games. And in fact, the Big Ten thought there was going to be an agreement in place. But the SEC don't want to do it. But the Big Ten are the bad guys. Indiana are the bad guys. These are the type of shows that make this the most unpopular college football YouTube channel in the country. What is going on? The Big Ten is willing to go 9-9, 1 crossover. But no, people are saying, no. Craig, you cannot tell the Southeastern Conference to go to 9 games. Oh, by the way, you should go to 8. Well, the Big Ten, which is 18 teams, is not going to go less conference games. So to serve their interests, they're going to dumb down their out-of-conference schedule because it's the only way the math works for the Big Ten. Up against the strength of schedule, the strength of record, and less conference losses that the SEC is going to have, and a 5+11, 11 at-large bids. And again, people can only complain about Indiana. Moen, if you want a 5+11, you're going to look forward to 3 cupcakes and 9 conference games. I mean, every college football reporter has been warning everybody about this. And these schools cannot wait to the last minute to have a schedule change. More of this is coming. More and more of this is coming. USC is going to say bye-bye to Notre Dame. They're not going to play Notre Dame every year. Why would they play Notre Dame every year? When Notre Dame has all this flexibility. And you're going to blame USC for now not allowing them flexibility? I'm not trolling my fans, Rock and Rant. You can disagree with me, Rock and Rant. You can disagree with me, but don't go after my motive. We disagree. Simply, we disagree. We simply disagree. I'm not trolling anybody. Of course, teams are going to do this. Everybody was warned about this. So somebody does it, and people are acting like, oh my God, oh my God. We might. It's up to the Gophers. We might see them cancel it. We probably won't. But again, let's not take any shots at the Southeastern Conference. I don't know. You are like 95% of you. 95% of you are giving them a free pass on everything. You want them to be able to tweak the metrics. Strength of record, strength of conference, strength of record, strength of schedule. You want them to stay at 8 conference games and go to 5+11. And the Big Ten can't do this. The Big Ten cannot act in their own self-interest. No crying here. Again, people are taking shots at Indiana's football program. Thank you, D5. It's like the Southeastern Conference can do whatever they want, but God forbid the Big Ten counteract that move. Notre Dame will not win a Big Ten championship. Big Ten is playing checkers. SEC is playing chess. What do you think Silent Tony says at the Big Ten Media Days? I will tell you that the Big Ten really wants to go to 16 teams in the playoffs. So that is one of the problems in the conference. They really want to go to 16. So I think they would go say, 5+11, but the Southeastern Conference has to go to 9 games. But the Southeastern Conference at this point has not made that decision. But if they did, I think the Big Ten would go, 5+11, and then we'll go back in this in 2030. What Silent Tony is going to say, I hope he does as well as he did on the Joe Klatt show. I hope he does as well as he did on the Joe Klatt show. I don't know if he can. I don't know if that environment with the microphones, interview not being, I don't know. I'm hoping somebody asks him about, they're going to ask him about private equity. He'll probably have the same answer. We haven't seen anything that helps us yet. There's nothing going on yet. We're talking to people, blah, blah, blah. So I don't even think the expansion question is going to be asked. I do think Petiti might have something up his sleeve when it comes to international events that don't have anything to do with the possibility of private capital or private equity. I think he might have something in his pocket to say the Big Ten is planning to do this or planning to do this outside of the United States borders. So keep an eye on that. Thank you, Morris Simmons. Appreciate it. $4.422 is the Big Ten's lifeline. Or it's the Big 12's. I don't know. Greg Sankey favors 0 AQs. Actually, Greg Sankey said today that there is interest in the AQ within the conference. I'm paraphrasing it, but that's basically what it said. In an interview, he said there is interested in the AQ model in the conference, but that is not the overriding, just like Kirby Smart says, among coaches, there's not a consensus. So there's not a consensus in the SEC, but more do favor the 5+11. Nobody knew until you brought up Indiana's schedule. Nobody knew what? The thing that's going around all over message boards and X. Greg, why does Greg think he's won with this? I don't think I've won anything. The Big Ten is scared out of its mind. Okay? Big Ten is scared. Ohio State can't. Okay, I get what you're saying, Spangler. Send about 10 more of those comments. Helmer Hennison. Weasel Petiti caved. Can't stay at 12 team. No, he's not caved. He's not caved. But the Big Ten really want 16. They really want it because it thinks if it's done correctly, it's just better for the conference, better for college football. He has not caved. Not yet. Hold on here. Hold on. Preston from Greensboro. The P2 owns everything. They're playing right now. Follow the money. I'll eat a cheeseburger if the P2 doesn't win out. Ultimately, they're playing games now. My opinion. But you love cheeseburgers, Preston from Greensboro. You love cheeseburger. Thank you so much for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina. Morris Simmons. Welcome to Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. He's a member, ladies and gentlemen. Morris Simmons, Mr. Seminole, is a member. Thank you so much. You are knighted officially, Morris Simmons. Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger. Okay. Enough of the yelling and screaming at each other. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. The phone lines are wide open. Wide open.
Call from
Chris Kenny.
Chris Kenny, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
Hey, Greg. It's been a long time. The last time I spoke to you was at the last SEC media, brouhaha that they had on Memorial Day. And I told you, and I believe it more now than I did then, that nobody is going to back the Big Ten into a corner and expect to walk all over them. I think that's basically been proven true. This idea that all the Big 12 stands had that somehow they got the SEC on their side and the ACC's on their side and they're going to outvote the Big Ten and no, they're not. They're not. Like everyone's admitted it. Brett Yormark is still haggling over the terms of a memorandum. It doesn't appear that he's even read because Rich Clark and Petiti and even Greg Sankey have said that it's the Big Ten and the SEC who have to have consensus in order for any changes to be implemented. So the Big Ten can just continue to say no. They can continue to say no, even if the others want 5+11. If the Big Ten doesn't want it, and I think all the reasons that they don't want it, at least in its current proposal, are right. I think everything Petiti said to Joel Klatt was 100% correct. Then it's not going to happen. And it kind of leads me to believe that this is ultimately just theater. I don't think that Brett Yormark is really serious about getting a 5+11. I think what's going on is that the Big Ten and the SEC were 2 steps away from getting everything they wanted. And, look, I have some sympathy for the view that a 4-4-2-2 model, at least as perception goes, makes the Big 12 and the ACC second-class citizens. Like numerically, it just looks that way. And I can understand perfectly well why that isn't acceptable to his stakeholders, right? I can see why he is against that plan. But simply saying, no, we're not going to have the AQ model in that fashion without offering any sort of alternative, I don't think would have been enough to stop it, because everybody could have just responded with all the arguments that Petiti's been making, which I do think are the right ones on the merits. So instead, he's got to throw a Hail Mary, and I think he's connected on this one, at least, in this quarter of the game, because the proposal is, I think, designed to cause a stalemate. It has stoked two things. It stokes the massive insecurity of the majority of SEC coaches, right? Like if you're Sam Pittman and you make like $4 or $5 million to go 6-6, and then maybe get like $200,000 to go to the Liberty Bowl. Like, why do you want to play 9 games and a Big Ten team?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want any of that? Of course, you're going to be opposed to it. And I think Kirby just said the quiet part out loud today. When Brian Kelly got out at the last media day, he was in favor of the AQ model. He's like, "Yeah, we're the 2 best conferences. We've distinguished ourselves. We should be in a position to do this." All of the ADs who spoke publicly were against putting more discretion and authority in the hands of the selection committee. And at least for the first part of those media sessions, they were in favor of a more objective model. Now they've switched and tried to say that all these new metrics they want to propose are actually the objective model that they were talking about. But I don't think that's really true, because that document was a joke. It was pathetic, and it was whipped out at the very last minute when Sankey lost control of the room, because all of the coaches fighting to go to like the Birmingham Bowl were up in arms, and they lost control of the group and had to save face. But if you listen to Kirby today and you listen to Brian Kelly, like, I don't think that they're opposed to it. I think it's the guys in the middle and the bottom. That's what they said. Those are the guys who are opposed to it. Well, what's going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen in 26. I think Yormark has probably gotten the stalemate that he wants. I think what he's hoping for, and he said it, he wants his league to get 2 teams in. He wants them to try to get 2 teams in repeatedly and maybe string out the clock where they can build up a better resume, so when that look-in period that he negotiated for comes around, they can argue for a bigger piece of the pie and more share in the governance, and then who knows what happens with the ACC, and maybe they can pick up some of the scraps and be like a true third partner, or if it's not a power 3, it's a power 2.5. And I think that's what he's playing for, and I think he's got it, like I said, in the short term. But here's what's going to happen. We're already seeing it. The ADs are going to have to look at the bottom line. The player salaries are only going to go up. The reason that everybody wanted the AQ model, the reason they wanted the scheduling agreement and 9 games was for one reason. It was for more money. Every one of those proposals was not being done for free. There was a dollar amount attached to all of them, because the schools, the people actually have to pay the bills. The athletic directors in the SEC realized that the math is not lining up. And so if we're going to instead have a race to the bottom, it's just it may delay the reckoning, and it may frankly make the medicine a little harder, because you've already inflicted more damage on yourselves out of the insecurity of the middling coaches, and frankly the ego of Greg Sankey, who can then go out and say that there's a level of rigor unlike any other in our league. Never mind that the team that everybody feels like got snubbed lost to the Michigan backups and third stringers, that when Indiana went ahead and beat the Michigan starters in the regular season. But never mind that. The SEC, it just means more. I think that that's what Yormark is playing to. But when the schedules start to get watered down, as they are, the Big Ten is still going to be in the same position. They got 4 teams last year. Do we really think that the Big Ten is going to get fewer than 4 on average? I don't. I think they're going to continue to get.
But they're going to get less than 4 at some point. If things
maybe one.
Huh?
Maybe they'll get 3 the way the SEC got 3.
Yeah.
But I think that there's just as good a chance that they may get 5 in some years. I don't think that I don't think the Big Ten is going to be a loser in any of this, is what I'm trying to get at. Which is why I think if you look at all the commissioners, I think Yormark is kind of being a cynic and a con man. I think that Greg Sankey is an egomaniac. Jim Phillips is, basically on the side of a milk carton right now. And the only one who's like cool, calm, and collected is Petiti. And I think it's because he knows he holds the cards. Under the current system, it still works for the Big Ten. And if all these other leagues want to throw in and ultimately diminish the product, it's not going to hurt the Big Ten any, because Indiana's just going to drop Virginia or whomever else they've got on their schedule and position themselves to get another bid. Illinois is probably going to make the playoff if they play up to their potential this year. The Illinois team that beat South Carolina, by the way. Big Ten's still going to get 4. Maybe you're right, in a random year they get 3. I think there's still a possibility, and Dan Orlovsky said it yesterday, they could get 5. So I don't think the Big Ten is hurt by any of this. What I think is going to happen is everyone's going to realize that they're sabotaging the product. They're diminishing their ability to generate the revenue that they need to actually compete and win in this new model. And the SEC is going to come around. So it may not be for 26, but I think what Kirby is saying is we've got to get a way for the Sam Pittmans and the, whoever coaches Mississippi State, I don't know, or whoever will be coaching A&M in 2 years when Mike Elko gets fired like all the other guys. Mm-hmm. The way to do that is not by going to this crummy 5+11 where everybody's playing Kennesaw State 4 times a year. The way to do that is through the A-Cube model where you've got play-in games, and the 7th place team in the SEC has a chance to play their way in, just like you do in college basketball when you go in through the conference tournaments. And I think that that's what Petitti wants to do now because it's the right way forward.
I'll tell you what. If Petitti really wants it, he's going to have to fight for it. And if he really wants to fight for it, if he truly believes in this vision, he's got the playoffs. I know a lot of people roll their eyes and they're going to yell at me. Go ahead, yell at me in the chat room. I already did a live show on this. He's got to make it so the Big 12 and the ACC benefit from it. Therefore, the playoffs have got to be 18 teams. You got to give a play-in game to the ACC. You got to give a play-in game for the Big 12. You got to have them have a championship game and then 3 versus 4 to get their 3rd automatic qualifier. 16 is not enough for division.
Well, I saw your.
Go ahead.
I saw your proposal when you tweeted it, and I'm not. Look, I think 18 is a little. Objectively speaking, I think it's ridiculous. But I understand you're trying to come up with the art of the possible, and,
yes.
And I don't think it's a terrible idea. But I also think time is on the Big Ten side. Like I think he wants it, but I don't think he has to go to the mat and risk all the continued blow. Look, if Petitti is the one who's leading this charge on his own, then all of the political heat and all of the criticism that we've already sort of been seeing about the way that people perceive the AQ model to be a form of entitlement, it all gets trained on him. And I don't think they need that. I don't think he's desperate enough. The Big Ten is in the driver's seat. It's the richest conference. They've won 2 national championships in a row. The way the system is set up today, which if Yormark is playing for stalemate has worked for the Big Ten in the 12-team model. It's worked quite well. So I don't think that there's urgency. I think everybody else is going to start to see the urgency when the money doesn't add up anymore. And if SEC athletic directors are seeing diminished attendance because everyone's playing Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State, they're going to start to realize we got to come up with a better way to fix this. And I think it will eventually bring them back on board. Maybe the fallback compromise is they go to 9 games and they do 5+11 and everybody can live with that. And that will 5+11 with 9 games, and it at least incentivizes better schedules at some level. And maybe the Big Ten and the SEC can reach an agreement on the quote-unquote new metrics. But I guarantee you, again, if the Big Ten says no to 5+11 with everybody playing 8 games, they can just as easily say no to all this new, ESPN, FPI nonsense that is just, a rigged formula to benefit the SEC. They can continue to say no. They've got veto power over that too, because that's affecting the format and criteria for selection in the playoffs. So I think that the Big Ten has put its cards on the table. Everybody else is scrambling. They're trying to come up with another way to stymie it, but time is on the Big Ten side. And I think eventually the other ADs and administrators in the SEC are going to realize this. Their coaches are going to have to come around because they have no other choice. So I think the Big Ten is actually playing it fine. If everybody is spending July hysterical about how Indiana's non-conference schedule is not challenging enough and it's a glide path into the playoff, then the Big Ten is winning. We're talking about Indiana gaming their way into the playoff. Give me a break. We're doing fine. The
okay.
Big Ten is doing fine.
All right. I appreciate the call, my man. Call again. We got more callers on the line. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Great call.
All right. Good evening.
Beautiful. Phone line is open. BYU football. The 5+11 doesn't affect the Big Ten. I don't know what you're crying about. Of course it affects the Big Ten. It affects the Big 12 a lot.
Call from
Rick.
Rick is on the line. The floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. You are spot on today.
Am I really? Because last time I was a complete moron. This time sometimes even a pig can pick up, even a blind pig can pick up an acorn once in a while. Go ahead, Rick.
SEC's been gaming the system for years. This has been going on for decades, just so that they could have their number 4 and number 5 teams get into better bowls. No, they've been gaming it. I just wanted to call to tweak your 18-team playoff.
Yes, go ahead, tweak it.
I want it 5-5, 3-3, 1-1.
What do I have it at? 4-4, 3-3? I have it at 4-4, 3-3. 4-4, 3-3, 1-3, correct?
Correct.
You wanted a 5-5, 3-3,
1-1.
I mean, sure, but I think I would have I don't know.
The ACC and the Big 12 are getting 3.
Yeah, but in mine they're getting 3. But there's 3 at-large bids. They could get a 4th one.
No, well, they can get a 4th one with the 1-1.
But less of a chance.
But less
Mine
of a
is
chance.
tougher on the Southeastern Conference. My model is tougher on the Southeastern Conference.
It is.
Well,
but that's why I'm trying to placate everyone. I want everybody to be happy.
I do too. And you know what? I want everybody to be happy too. Everybody, I want you all to be happy, but I'm going to tell you, this 5+11 is going to suck. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be bad. It's all going to be propaganda. Tweak this thing, strength the schedule, strength the record. Come on, guys. Let's get it together. Go ahead, sir.
The TV has to stay strong. He's going to stay strong. He's got the veto pen.
Yeah.
But with a 5-5, 3-3, 1-1, Notre Dame gets in if they're in the top 18. Okay, that's going to be most of the time. If not, that's available to anyone. And then the other one is G6, G5, G6.
Yeah.
If they're in the top 18, but if they're not in the top 18, that one's available too.
But you do agree with me though that for the ACC and the Big 12 to truly buy into this thing needs to go to 18, right?
I think it needs to go to 18, and
yes.
I think they need to have 3, which they're getting.
Yes.
They're getting 3 with me, and they're getting 3 with you.
Yeah.
I want a little more separation than you do between the 4 and 3.
All righty.
Thanks for taking the call.
Appreciate it, my man. Great call. Oh, we lost the caller. D5 Terps, strength of schedule in 24, top 20, SEC 11, Big 10 7, and then you get the Big 12 0. No hate, just facts. Again, I'm trying to. I've done a miserable job. I have failed at your at your host, the Peek Around the Corner, I have completely failed. I don't know. For the Big 12 fans out there, I love Big 12 football. I want you to be happy. The metrics are going to go against you completely. Now, there could be a season and a 5+11 that you get 3 teams in. But overall, the data would tell you, Bill County, all these models tell you that the AQ model is so much better off of the Big 12.
From
Larry Andrick.
Larry Andrick, the floor is yours. How you doing, Mr. Mountaineer?
I'm doing real good, Greg. Thanks for letting me speak at and talk to you.
You got it, buddy.
I will say one thing. You have got the situation almost way I think everybody would agree to it, except for one little thing.
Got it.
Everybody wants to do away with the commission to elect who goes to the playoffs. If you do a 4-4-3-3-1-1, that eliminates anybody's decision to say who goes. And you get 4 teams in, and I don't care what conference it is, I don't think there's a 5th team that actually really deserves to get into the championship game.
Now,
if you play your conference schedule and get and lose enough to where you're the 5th place team, I don't think you deserve to be there.
I agree, Larry. I agree with you. I agree with you in principle. However, it ain't going to pass the SEC. They're not going to go for it. So what I was
they're not going to go for much of anything.
I was trying to come up with something. I mean, even Kirby, they all said it today. Kirby Smart said it. They don't want to be capped at 4. So I was trying to thread the needle to make it to where the Big 12 gets the benefit of a playing game, a championship game. The Big 12 gets the benefit of the 7th place team in the conference 2 weeks out is going to have still the ability to get into the playoffs. You're going to have more Big 12 teams later in the season with the pathway to the playoffs. I'm trying to get that for the Big 12 while having the Southeastern Conference agree to a damn plan that's not 5+11. That has a selection committee dominating everything. So that is why I had to get more at-large bids in there to get the Southeastern Conference on board. So I don't think a 4-4-3-3-1-1. I would love it as a fan. I don't think it can get through. I don't think the SEC would go for it. But go ahead, sir.
You're probably right, but I think I have not liked one single setup for the CFV this year. Not one.
Yeah.
But I think the one that you came up with was probably the fairest. But I don't think they can go to 18 games right now anyway.
No.
I think 16 is the limit.
Yeah. Well, they could go to 18. They could go to 18 for 2026. They just got to open up their minds, like Larry and the fat guy from Minnesota. We've opened up our minds. They haven't yet.
You got a point there. But that's all I really had. I just called to put my 2 cents worth in. But I think you came up with the best solution that's closest to what I think everybody should agree to. But I do think if they just knocked off the 2 extra at-large bids, and you had the 4 best teams in the SEC and the Big 10 and the 3 from the ACC and the Big 12, you'd catch the best teams in the country with no argument.
Yeah. Beautiful, Larry. Beautiful call, sir.
But thank you so much, buddy. Got a great show, Greg. I don't miss it. Thanks
Thank you,
again.
sir. Mr. Mountaineer. Beautiful job.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. BYU football, and the Big 12 doesn't want to be capped at 2. I've never capped the Big 12 at 2. The Big 12 does not get capped at 2 anywhere. In a 4-4-2-2-1-3, they're not capped at 2. In a 4-4-3-3, they're not capped at 2. In my model, 4-4-3-3-1-3, 18-team conference, the Big 12 is not capped at 2. What the automatic qualifier model does, it raises the floor of the Big 12. It raises the floor. It doesn't lower the ceiling. I don't know what the Big 12 schools, again, if we could get this sucker to a 3 automatic qualifying bids for the Big 12, not capped, with an at-large, at least 1 to 3 at-large bids available. That means that there are going to be 4 teams playing on championship weekend. You're going to have 1 versus 2 in the Big 12 championship game. Hold on.
Call from
Replica.
Replica, can you hold just for a moment, please?
Go ahead.
I appreciate it. So BYU football, on championship weekend, you would have 1 versus 2 in the Big 12 championship game, just like you have now. But you would have 3 versus 4. The winner on the field, earning it, gets a bid to the playoffs. And then there's going to be 1 to 3 at-large bids available. But that's not even the most valuable part of it. It's valuable. It's valuable to continue to have that championship game, to also have that plan. But what is really valuable to the Big 12 is with 2 weeks left in the season, you're going to have 7 to 8 teams still viable, a pathway to the college football playoffs. 5 plus 11, 13, 12 Big 12 teams are going to be eliminated after the week 4. I mean, that's just the reality. We want more teams, more invested, have a chance to get to the playoffs later in the season. We don't want a participation trophy. We don't want everybody getting in. We want, if you get in the playoffs, it was a tremendous season for most programs. Some programs, big-time programs, you got to win a couple of games, or maybe you have to win the national championship if you've loaded up your roster. But for most programs, if you get to the playoffs, it's a great thing. I want more fan bases to have an opportunity later in the season to see a pathway, not to be all propaganda all over the place. Wins and losses, just like in the NFL, just like in the NBA. That is what I think should happen. But again, it looks like it's going against me once again. I'm going to have to eat a cheeseburger on December 1st or December 2nd. Replica, Mr. Longhorn, the floor is yours.
Yeah. How you doing, Greg? You know what I hear? I want to have 100% of the benefits with 0% of the risk. I want to play big opponents on my schedule.
Yeah.
I don't want to take the risk of not being knocked out of the national championship conversation. That's not the sport I grew up watching. The sport I grew up watching, it meant something to have a big game, and if you lose in week 5, it could be over. But I don't want to get too much into the CFP stuff. People know where I stand. I actually just came on here to brag about recruiting, which is something I rarely do. Like, I don't really care about recruits until they actually get on campus, because I've seen too many top 10, top 5, even a number 1 class come in and do nothing. But we are absolutely stomping Georgia out in recruiting. Sark has went to Kirby Smart house and told him to make him a sandwich, and Kirby's he's starting to lose it, because he's talking about relationships and how he wants his highest paid players on the team to be upperclassmen, basically trying to make it seem like he hasn't been paying players since he got there. It's embarrassing, but you know, I always knew this was going to happen when we got into the SEC. The only advantage they ever had over us was recruiting. And now that that's over, they're in a world of trouble. So put the fries in the bag, Kirby.
Woo!
Put the fries in the bag.
Now, everybody, and now I get it. I'm biased. I have my biases. I'm all about Arch Manning. You know I'm the conductor on the hype train. But everybody was impressed with Arch Manning at the media days. The way he conducted himself, which should not be a surprise. But the kid has got it. He's mature. He's smart. He knows what to say in front of a camera. Arch Manning was very impressive today.
Yeah, I'm at work, so I haven't seen anything. But again, no surprise. He's been trained for it his whole life, but he's also experienced different things. So he may come off to the outsiders as a sport-rich kid, but if you know where his family is from and like being in Louisiana, he's seen enough life to have perspective. So not too concerned with Arch, but yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, his coronation will be in Columbus, so we will be there.
All right. Yeah, that's going to be, we're going to be doing a watch party. No question about it. So,
all right. Last thing I want to say, some non-college football related news. Chelsea Football Club smashed PSG 3-0 at MetLife Stadium this past Sunday to win the Club World Cup, and we are now world champions for the next 4 years. We are also the only club of all the soccer teams in the world to have won every competition. Any trophy out there that's available is in our cabinet, and we won it all. So, incredible achievement for all of the players and the coaches. And to the Arsenal fans, I just want to say one last thing. You'll never sing that. You'll never sing that. Champions of the world, you'll never sing that. Have a good day.
Beautiful replica. Beautiful singing. Beautiful call, sir. Appreciate it. Oh, he hung up. He just sang and he left. Replica has left the building. Replica has left the building. Beautiful singing. Beautiful. I remember Kirby Puckett's very first game as a Minnesota Twin. It's when I used to watch baseball. It's when Major League Baseball had some sort of connection with the word competition. Kirby Puckett came up with the minor leagues. In the very first game, I think he went 4 for 5, right, Tony? He went 3 for 4 or 4 for 5. Right off the bat, you could tell he was, what an incredible player. Not the best the best Minnesota athlete. Kirby Puckett was not from Minnesota. He was from Chicago, I think. The best athlete, in my opinion, that ever come from Minnesota was Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer was the best high school baseball player in the country. He was drafted number 1 in the country. Went to the Minnesota Twins. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Joe Mauer, catcher. When he signed that contract, when he came out of high school, he was also the number 1 rated quarterback in the nation. He was an unbelievable quarterback. The way he threw that football. You can, if you Google it, I think you can find, what would it be, 1987, 88, 89, I don't know, I can't remember. Joe Mauer, St. Paul, Cretin-Durham Hall, there's some tapes out there. The way he threw the football, and he was an all-state basketball player. So Joe Mauer was the number 1 high school football quarterback, the number 1 baseball player, drafted number 1 overall, first ballot Hall of Famer. He would have went to Florida State. He would have rocked it with the Seminoles. He was going to go to Florida State if he decided on football. To me, that is the best athlete. Now, of course, you've got Dave Winfield. I don't think Jack Morris is, St. Paul, Minnesota, yeah. But Joe Mauer was. Joe Mauer, he had older brothers. And his older brothers were like 5-6 years older. They were good athletes. They played minor league baseball. They played a lot of basketball. They in interviews, they'd say, Joe, we would have our young brother, Joe Mauer, go on the basketball court. They'd be playing in some Catholic church gymnasium somewhere in St. Paul. They would be 18 years old. They'd be 18-year-old, right, playing in the summer. They would have the keys to the little gymnasium at the basement of the Catholic church, and they would invite their little brother, Joe Mauer, and he would dominate like a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. He was absolutely brilliant. Penn State beat Auburn twice in a home and home, and Franklin said no more of those games until the SEC stops schedule manipulation after Georgia's pathetic 2022 schedule. This is not new. It's not. It's not. And now we're just going to all dumb down. A lot of us are going to dumb down our schedules because why would you do anything different? I am not gaslighting anybody. I did not gaslight the people here at Peek Around the Corner. I meant every word I said. Indiana ain't going to be the last. First of all, they're not the first team to do this. They're not going to be the last team to do this. I just have a gentleman disagreement with Replica. He wants to be the way it was. Every game determines if you're going to go to the playoffs or not. I don't want that. I want it to be more like the NFL. They've got to figure it out. I want more teams, more fan bases not eliminated after week 1, week 2 of going to the playoffs. I don't want propaganda to be so important. I want the fans to see what they need to do to get to the playoffs. Or I want fans to know that they can be a spoiler for their rival as they try to get to the playoffs. I want there to be 2 bites at the apple. One, if you do have an AQ model, you will schedule big time non-conference games. And if you win those non-conference games, you've got a shot to get an at-large bid if you fail to win your play-in game. If you lose those big non-conference games, you still have a shot to get to the playoffs if you qualify for your play-in game and you win it. You've got 2 bites at the apple. The problem with Tony Petitti's model is that you're not giving enough to the Big 12 and the ACC to buy into it. You've got to give them more. And the only way to give them more and to keep the SEC online to have the possibility to agreeing with it is you got to raise the playoffs from 16 to 18. As crazy as it sounds, and an 18-team playoff can be played, I put it on my X account, no more than 6 games on a weekend, on a Friday, Saturday. I think that's the solution. Obviously, nobody's listening to me, not even the little general, not even people in the PATC family. You Einsteins, you're not listening to me. So why would Tony Petitti listen to me when I spent 3 months ripping on him? Why would Greg Sankey listen to me when I've spent years ripping on him? So, anyways, the Pack and the Mountain West are headed to trial. Thank you, Big Gun Shop. Appreciate it. Going to trial. Oh boy, thank you, Annie. Appreciate it. Thank you for keeping your head on a swivel. Greg, are you related to Rick Flugar? I do not know. I do not. I don't recall a Rick in my family. Plus, that name, my name is spelled Flugaur. There's not many Flugars out there, but there are some in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, that are not related to us, that we know of. Thank you, Jason. Viola is from New York. Herbeck is from Minnesota. Ken Herbeck. I've told this story about Ken Herbeck. Oh, there's a couple of things here. Ken Herbeck played for Bloomington Jefferson. And my brother, Bill Flugar, was playing for the Robbinsdale Robins. Now, back in the day, well, even today, Bloomington Jefferson, let's just say Bloomington Jefferson was the Southeastern Conference, and the Robbinsdale Robins, where I was from, was G6. We're the poor suburb, right alongside northern Minneapolis. And Ken Herbeck was up to bat in that beautiful blue uniform that Bloomington Jefferson wears, baby blue and white. Robbinsdale Robins, with the school is not even open anymore. It closed a year before I even went to high school. Bill Flugar was playing shortstop. Good baseball player. Kent Herbeck drills it opposite field, but it's on the ground. Drills a liner, a 2-hop liner, and nails my brother right in the right eye. Black eye, Bill Flugar, because of Kent Herbeck, drills a... I think they gave my brother an error. on that play. Anyways, one other thing. Have any of you guys seen... No, I'm not related to Ric Flair. Have any of you seen The Traitors on Peacock? Have any of you seen The Traitors on Peacock? The reality show, The Traitors. Yes, no. Give me yes or no. I don't know how many you have Peacock streaming. Big Ten fans, I think, would have it because Big Ten football is on there. Al Woody said no. I abhor reality television. Morris Simmons, no. If you have Peacock, go watch The Traitors. It's a reality show. There have been 3 episodes US, 3 episodes UK. There's an episode going on India, so it's The Traitors India. We can't watch it in the United States. Someday it will come to us. They say after 6 or 7 weeks, it's the most popular television show in the country of India's history. It's a wild, wild show. So give it a chance. If you've got Peacock streaming, go give it a chance. The Traitors. It's a reality show. Give it a shot. I want to thank everybody who's joined us today. I do appreciate all the support. Ricky Tungate, Ryan Willie, Rock and Rant, Daniel Gygax, Moen, After Dark, Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina, Morris Simmons, Helmer Henderson, Heartbreak 25, Stormy Cyclone, and the big monster super chat from Expansion Crush. Thank you guys so very much. Wonderful phone calls. I do appreciate it. If you haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our channel, the National College Football Channel. Peek around the corner, subscribe to it, and turn on those notifications. If there is breaking news, we will come on live and cover it. So You're not going to know. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Subscribe and turn on those notifications. And before you leave, please smash the like button. It's just early in the week. We got a lot more to go. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, SEC Media Days continue. And then next week is Silent Tony. Silent Tony Petiti. Buckle up. Brace for impact. Until next time, from all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.